Welcome to I Just Have Something to Say. Today we're going to be covering a video by Colion Noir, which is probably one of the best works that I've seen him do recently. We're going to discuss the real truth behind gun control and how it hurts the most vulnerable people in our society and makes them susceptible to violent crimes. A link to his channel will be below. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell.
There are very few things in this world that make me happier than when an anti-gun politician says the quiet part out loud.
The last thing I want to say to people, and some of my own Democrats have commented to me, this does nothing to stop the illegal gun trade or the illegal possessions or criminal content. You're right. This doesn't. It was never supposed to address that.
And why in the hell are you even wasting anybody's time going after law-abiding citizens when the goal is to be protecting the citizens of your community?
This is addressing the legal, law-abiding, responsible citizens. That's what it's designed to do.
So the truth finally comes out. Whether he said this because he's an idiot or because he thought no one would see this video or both, it doesn't matter because he said it. The same way this idiot said this.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
Or the same way our confused president said this.
Democrats will ban assault weapons once and for all, God willing.
AR does not mean assault rifle. It means Armalite rifle. The only exposure that I've ever had to an assault rifle is when I was in the service in the Army. And by definition, that was an assault rifle because they had a safe, single fire, 3-round burst, and fully automatic. The civilian version of the AR-15 only has safe and single fire, which you could only fire every time you pull the trigger. It's a semi-automatic weapon. Any deviation from that is against the law, and it's been prohibited for many decades.
As embarrassing as these clips are, it's also a beautiful thing when a person's subconscious mind betrays their conscious mind and expresses who they really are. For decades, I and the rest of the gun community have been saying that gun control laws don't stop criminals, they only make it harder on law-abiding citizens. And for decades, people have been telling us that we're crazy fearmonger. Or you'll get stupid people saying moronic things like, well, just because criminals don't follow laws doesn't mean we should just stop making laws. Nobody said that, goofy. What we said was, don't make laws that make it easier for criminals to do criminal shit by making laws that make it harder for the law-abiding to stop criminals from doing illegal shit. Making murder illegal doesn't make it easier for criminals to murder, and it doesn't make it harder to stop criminals from murdering. But making it illegal for law-abiding citizens to carry a gun for self-defense makes it easier for criminals to murder those law-abiding people and harder for those law-abiding people to stop the criminals from murdering them. It's common sense that's clearly not so common in the day and age of government worship. You see, earlier this year, the Supreme Court ruled that New York's concealed carry license process, which made it impossible for anyone to get a license, was unconstitutional. This ruling caused all of the Democrat-run cities and states to scatter like cockroaches when the lights are turned on to find a way to make it nearly impossible to get a concealed carry permit for law-abiding citizens. And New Jersey is one of those states.
This bill is very specifically addressing the fact that the radical fanatic Supreme Court just said everybody shall be issued a concealed carry permit or a permit to carry in public.
This guy's a meathead. There's no other description for it. You have to pass a background check. You have to pass the NICS check. They just don't hand out concealed license if you're a prohibited possessor of a weapon. It just doesn't make any sense. It's the same argument that they make about arming all teachers. You don't arm all teachers. You arm the ones that volunteer to go through the program. Same thing with concealed licenses. It's not a blanket amnesty for everybody to get a concealed weapons license. This guy's an idiot.
Prior to the Supreme Court case, you couldn't get a concealed carry license in New Jersey. Hell, it was hard enough to simply get a license to buy a gun in New Jersey. A perfect example of this is Carol Bowman, who was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend 2 days after she checked on the status of her permit that would have allowed her to buy a gun. But she got no answer, even though she applied months ago.
I'd like to add something at this point. for all those people that said, well, she should have just got a protective order, maybe put cameras around her house, be more cautious. Well, she did all those, and look what happened. People who are subjected to domestic violence, who have a protective order given to them by a judge, should have access to a weapon immediately. Even in states that have a mandatory waiting period, those waiting periods should be waived with a protective order from a judge so these people can protect themselves immediately. No one should have to live in fear under any circumstances. If the person has the legal capability of owning a weapon, they should be able to go in with that protective order and get what they need to protect themselves and their family.
Because of the Supreme Court decision, New Jersey is now forced to provide a way to get a concealed carry license to their citizens. So, what did the anti-gun politicians of New Jersey do? Acted like a bunch of petulant children and is now trying to pass one of the most restrictive permitting laws that on paper say you have a right to carry a gun, but in reality, you can't carry shit. Under this bill, they deem damn near everywhere you would commonly go with a firearm for protection as a sensitive place, meaning you can't carry your gun there. You wouldn't be able to carry a gun inside your car. You can't carry on a commercial or private property unless the owner posts a notice saying that you can carry. And it also massively increases the fees to get a permit, which would make it 10 times harder on people living on a lower income. The same people who likely need the ability to carry a gun more than most people because like most people, or unlike most people, they are more than likely living in a dangerous neighborhood. The bill also mandates special carry insurance and then requires even more training that was also required before that, but now adding more on top of that, making it so that you have to spend even more time outside of work to get this license. This law is purely designed to make getting a license to carry so difficult, very few will be able to do so, whether it be because the process is too confusing, requiring way too much time, or they just simply can't afford it, which turns the right to carry into a privilege for the rich and elite, exactly the way they want it to be. And now, no one can say I'm lying because Bozo the Dodo over here just proved it when he said this.
This is addressing the legal, law-abiding, responsible citizens. That's what it's designed to do.
Let me tell you, there was a time in my life after I got out of the service, I was a single parent and didn't have 2 cents to put together. These draconian regulations and rules and mandates that these people place on the poor, the disenfranchised, the people who need the most protection is just sinful. There's just no reasonable way that these people could say that we're there for the working class, that they give a damn about the poor when they leave them in vulnerable situations where they can't protect themselves and they don't put violent criminals in jail. It is time that people wake up. If you're sitting on the fence on gun control, you really don't know what's going on, listen to people like Colion, listen to other people in the gun community, and really take a close look at what the anti-gunners are talking about because they never, ever talk about addressing violence. They're always talking about gun control as a means to controlling violence. The bottom line is bad people are going to do bad things. It doesn't matter what tool they use. I would like to hear your comments on waiving for mandatory waiting periods for gun purchases for potential victims of domestic violence who have been issued a protective order by a judge. Looking forward to seeing your comments. Thank you for visiting.